Hello everyone, I am Rachel with Adventurous Heart, and today's adventure takes us onto Lake Erie. Yes, Lake Erie is in my backyard here in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm going to paddle the Lake Erie Water Trail that starts here in Huntington Beach and goes 20 plus miles all the way to Sims Park. So I've been checking out the weather conditions. They look perfect today. Winds coming from the south. If it comes from the north, you get a little bit of chop, a little bit of waves. So completely flat, glassy. It is about 7:45. I'm gonna get on the water and see how far I can make it on the Lake Erie Water Trail today, showing you all of the highlights along the way. So follow along and come explore the Lake Erie Water Trail. So we're starting here at Huntington Beach. There's a nice drop off. You can't park here, you park up top. So it's a nice little walk down, and then you are meted with beautiful beach. Swimming is to the west, but perfectly good launching as long as you stay outside the swim buoys. So I'm going to head to the east. Out on the water, just starting the trip. It is just before 8 a.m. You can barely see Cleveland skyline. That's about 10 miles. That is where I am headed next. You can see some cliff lines along the way. Part of the Lake Erie Water Trail has these cliff lines of different sizes and private property, so you have to be careful about where you get off. There are rest points that I will show you along the way as we leave beautiful Huntington Beach. On this beautiful flat water morning, you don't usually get this on Lake Erie. There are also other paddlers, stand-up paddleboarders, kayakers out here enjoying this. If you're not in Ohio, don't have Lake Erie, find the adventures in your backyard and go explore it. Lake Erie Water Trail is in mine, and I'm so excited to have it here. All right, I've paddled almost 3 miles from Huntington. It's pretty much cliff lines the whole way. You're starting to break cliff lines, hit some private property. There's a cool blue heron at this little inlet here. Lots of little ducks, very, very scenic place. Almost to Brad Street Landing. Great place to be able to rest. A good way to be able to know you're approaching Brad Street is there's a huge pier there. So if you see that, you know you're almost to a little bit of a break. I will stop there and give you a tour of that area. But absolutely breathtaking, different boaters, paddlers out here on Lake Erie today. As the water glistens, you hear the birds. We are approaching Brad Street, and as you can see through there, right in between those pillars, that is the mouth of the Rocky River. That's where we will be heading next. So cool sights, cool sounds out here on Lake Erie. All right, as promised, beautiful Brad Street, but I want to show you how clear Lake Erie is today. Absolutely beautiful as we take a break here at Brad Street. Nice little beach on either side of the pier that you can take a break like I'm doing today, or you can go ahead and start or end your journey here as well. There's a nice parking lot, take you from the beach to the parking lot, so you can go ahead, drive here, do a short paddle, or do a longer paddle, whatever your preference might be for that day. And there are restrooms here as well. It's like a little pop machine. So short beverages, place to take a picnic, break, anything of that nature, but absolutely beautiful out here today. At this point, you're probably wondering what kind of things you should take with you if you are paddling on the Lake Erie Water Trail. So I'll give you a quick view of my setup for today. Of course, it's stand-up paddleboarding, so you want a leash, plenty of water for the distance. That's my lunch in here, so plenty of snacks. I also brought a lock in case I have to lock the board up for any time. And then in here, kind of the important stuff, extra layers, sunscreen, towel, first aid kit, headlamp, distress flag, flares, in my life jacket, VHF radio, a map. Leaving Brad Street, which is about 3.5 miles from Huntington, definitely take a look under the pier. there are some really cool bird nests. So you might think not a lot. Saw a couple babies in this one. Under here though, there are so many bird nests. Check out all of these. Very, very, very cool. One and a half miles from Brad Street, 5 from Huntington, I've reached the mouth of the Rocky River, marked with the pier here, as well as a towering cliff wall. To let you see just how big it is here. So the cliff lines along the Lake Erie Water Trail are important here because waves, when they are present, whether from the wind or from other power boats coming through, are going to cause reverberation. That means the waves are going to come, hit this cliff line, and bounce back off, causing more erratic waves that could make your boat unstable. Not good. So if you're paddling out of the Rocky River area and there are a lot of waves, not today, or there's a lot of boat traffic that creates waves, when you get to the mouth of the Rocky River, just be careful because this can be an area of instability coming in. The other thing to keep in mind when you come to mouths of rivers, such as the Rocky River here and Cuyahoga River later, is that when you cross them, make sure you're not in boaters' ways, so other traffic ways. The best thing is to look. Human powered craft do have the right of way, but that still means we're not going to cut in front of other boaters. So if you see a boater coming through, you always want to have your head on a swivel as you're coming in or out of the mouth of a river. If you see one coming through, go ahead, wait, let it pass before you go ahead and go across that river. When you do cross it, you should cross it directly straight across. So don't take it at an angle. Never, ever, ever hang out in the middle of the channel, especially this area. I'm, as you can see, tucked real close to this cliff line so that anyone coming around, especially these little geese, aren't going to be able to come and cut hard and be able to hit me if they don't see me in a blind spot, kind of like if I was out there. So stay tucked, cross quickly, stay safe while you're out here paddling. I will also let you know if you go down the Rocky River here, it's about 1 mile to the Emerald Necklace Marina. The Emerald Necklace Marina is a good place to be able to launch, and if you're not sure about paddling in Lake Erie given the conditions, you can go ahead and just paddle that 1 mile there and back in the river. But there is increased boat traffic that you need to be aware of. And you can see just a little bit of ripples coming through from boat traffic. When there is a lot, it can get pretty unstable. So make sure you know your skill level, don't go above it. Check the forecast, near shore, offshore. I think I checked 5 to 10 apps before I came out paddling today, just to make sure I was doing everything correctly, really monitoring it. So just like this, you see boats that are going to come pass through. So if you are paddling, always stay to the far right, just like driving on the road, and just be aware of where you are all of the time, as high boat traffic can make it more challenging. All right, as we leave the mouth of the Rocky River, you'll see there's a cool beach. It looks very inviting. However, that is a private beach, so you don't want to land there. If you do want to take a break, paddle a mile up the river, stop at the Emerald Necklace Marina. 41 Degrees North does rent kayaks and stand-up paddleboards there throughout the summer months. The other really cool thing about paddling in Cleveland is there are huge freighters. So this one is coming in. It'll probably hit Edgewater, Wendy Park area about the same time that I do, which is cool to be able to track it that whole way. Definitely want to take a VHF radio and monitor the freighters on apps such as marinetraffic.com is one I like to use, but definitely always be on the lookout for other boaters, especially freighters in the downtown Wendy Park, Edgewater area. One of the interesting things about paddling the Lake Erie Water Trail is as you're paddling, the scenery kind of changes. In so much so when I started at Huntington, you could see downtown, I could see there's Edgewater, there's Cleveland, there's where I want to go. But because Cleveland is kind of sucked back, if you will, around the turn, I can't see it. Instead, I am graced with towering cliff walls a lot of the way. You can see no place to get out, so make sure you have your trip planned. Check the weather. Beautiful, but can be dangerous. The other cool thing is absolutely clear water. Look at that. It's kind of like paddling on the ocean, just no sharks. Not that sharks are bad, sharks are cool. Absolutely beautiful. I love it when I come upon a school of fish and then they just kind of take off as you paddle over them, or big carp or anything like that. But the views out here are totally worth the paddle. It's a fun old structure to find, a little treasure along the way. So as you're paddling, be sure to take in and look at all of the details of these towering cliff lines. I talked about the freighter earlier. So as you can see, it is heading to Cleveland, just as I am. I think it's gonna beat me, but we shall see. After the towering cliff lines, you'll come to Lakewood Park. You can see the solstice steps, people using it, but don't plan on landing here. But the cool thing is, now you finally see the beautiful view of downtown again. So we'll keep paddling in that direction. Edgewater, Perkins Beach, here I come. All right, I'm about to turn past the cliff line to really hit the Cove of Cleveland. Another cool, interesting treasure here. So there's actually a pipe, bricks rather, inside of the cliff wall here. So cool things to be able to check out as you are paddling the Lake Erie Water Trail. Really cool to have the two tallest buildings in Ohio, Key Bank Tower and Terminal Tower. Play some more fun facts as we get closer. And then if you go all the way out here, you can see the Cleveland Crib. They call it the 5 Mile Crib because it is 5 miles from the Kirtland pump station where it filters the water, but it is actually just over 3 miles from shore. So cool to paddle out there sometime as well. So I will say, until you're paddling, you don't actually realize how tucked in Cleveland is. But the cool thing is, the firefighters are out here playing with the new boat. Very cool. After 10 miles, I have reached Perkins Beach from Huntington Reservation. At Perkins, there's a couple jetty piers sticking out, small beach. Lake Erie's pretty high right now, so take it away from the beach a little bit. And you can see you can park up top here. So this could be a rest area, it could be a start or an ending point. Just know if you start or end here, there is a bit of a stair carry with your kayak or stand-up paddleboard. So you may prefer putting in at Edgewater or Wendy Park, but Perkins is a great option as well. We finally made it downtown where we exchanged those cliff lines for towering skyscrapers, and we are here at Edgewater Beach, a perfect place to come out and enjoy the sun, go swimming. So in front of me, this whole area is a swim area, which means no paddlers allowed, but you are allowed to see the willow tree on the corner. There's a jetty to the far east side of the beach. You're allowed a little lane through there between the jetty and a buoy to be able to launch your kayak and stand-up paddleboard. Once you launch, and please don't spend much time there, go ahead and go outside of the swim area and make sure you keep your craft outside of that the entire time. On the western side of Edgewater Beach, there's also a cool dog park. So great place to be able to park. It's outside of the break wall. A paddler's paradise is really up here at Wendy Park that is inside the break wall. You can see the water was very, very calm this morning. It's picked up a little bit, nothing too serious, but this is Lake Erie for you. Even on a very calm, flat day, it can turn into some waves, some wind. So always be on the lookout, out looking at the forecast. So from here, I'm gonna head inside the break wall to Wendy Park. As I was getting ready to paddle away, I thought of a fun story I wanted to share with you. So I was out here a couple of years ago, grabbed our stand-up paddle boards. We were only gonna be out here like 15 minutes because we were just checking on something for a media shoot later in the week. So we came out, Phil and I, just really life jackets, paddle, board, essential stuff, no VHF radio because we were literally checking on something right here at the beach. When Phil goes, "Hey Rachel, isn't that the universal sign for we need help?" And it was a jet boat out here, a power boat with 3 guys on it. And of course, Phil, being the sweetheart he is, said, "Let's go check on them." So we paddle out, we check on them. And as we checked on them, we said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Our boat will only go in circles. We can't get it to move." I said, "Well, don't you have a VHF radio?" I said, "No, do you?" Of course, I didn't bring it that day. Always bring stuff with you. You never know what could happen, even if you're going to be out for a short bit. So we talked through a few things, and Phil got this brainy idea. He said, "Rachel, don't you think you could tow them in?" I said, "Well, I don't know. The closest is Edgewater, which is where they launched, which is about a mile that way." I said, "What am I going to tow them with?" Phil says, "Well, do you guys have rope?" They said, yeah. So they gave us rope. I attached it to the back of my board, not this board, but attached it to the back. And I was on my knees towing them, and I said, "Is it working?" They said, "Yes." And I said, "It'd be even better if we had 2. Do you have 2 ropes?" They said, "Yes." So Phil and I hooked them up and started pulling them towards Edgewater, assuming we'd be able to get a power boat or someone else to stop along the way. Wouldn't you know, we asked multiple people, and no one wanted to stop and help us. Obviously, 2 stand-up paddleboarders towing a power boat is not something you typically see, but no one wanted to help. We even tried to recruit a couple kayakers. Someone didn't offer to help until we were basically at the marina, and we said we got it. So it was a good mile tow. It was fun. Stand-up paddleboarders, if you're a power boater, thank them. They might tow you one day. So always slow down as you're going by power boaters, or as you're going by paddlers. Be respectful. It's about etiquette out here when everyone's out here trying to have a good time. So if you see someone in distress, whether you're a paddler or power boater, help them out. Everyone wants to have a good time on the water. And to conclude that story, we did get a free meal out of it. So it was good. Almost inside of Edgewater Marina, inside the break wall, the inner harbor as it's called. And you can see there's increased boat traffic here. There's navigational buoys. There's going to be a red one on the right, red right returning, because I'm coming from Big Water, where all of the sailboats are out here today, and Lake Erie to a smaller channel. So red right returning is on the right, green is on the left. Kind of showing this view back here. Once I get closer, my head's going to be kind of turning, looking out for boat traffic. There's a couple channels inside of there, so you just have to be careful as you're navigating through. The other option is to paddle on the outside of the break wall, outside of the lighthouses, but that means you can't go back in until the end of the break wall, which is just past East 55th, closer to East 72nd. Gordon Boat Ramp is really where that's going to come in. So taking this view, the next view is going to be paddling right by Wendy Park, showing you a couple freighter facts along the way. All right, I've tucked myself in here where it's too shallow for power boaters to go, but I want to show you things you have to prepare for as you're paddling. So there's 1, 2, 3 entrances that you have to navigate as you come in here. And as I just came in through that area, there were 4 power boaters coming in, now a sailboat, 1 was going out, so lots of traffic in this area, and that creates bigger waves. So actually about 1 foot waves as I was coming in that area. So these are things to be prepared for as you're paddling the Lake Erie Water Trail. I talked about those buoys before. You can see it better now. So there's a red one on the right, there's a green one on the left. If red is on your right, again, going to smaller waters. So I'm going to keep paddling through here. Always a good idea to have a VHF radio when you're downtown area where the freighters are. I heard American Courage, which is one of the freighters, is coming through. So I'm going to check marine traffic to see where it's coming through, because she could be going over here just west of Wendy Park where they unload iron ore, or she could be going out to Lake Erie. I just need to know where she is so we're not paddling next to her. Not a good idea. Freighters have thrusters. which help them turn and maneuver, but they can be problematic for paddlers. So I'll check that out. According to Marine Traffic, American Courage is at Rivergate, which is a place up the Cuyahoga River that you can get in and out. So I will listen to the radio, VHF Radio, to see which way it is going and make my new moves based on that. So always good, again, check Marine Traffic, carry a VHF Radio, especially if you're paddling in freighter territory. One of the true benefits of having a VHF radio is that you really can monitor the traffic. So I told you American Courage was coming, a big freighter, and so I didn't know if I should paddle here or the exterior of the breakwall, depending on where it's going. But I heard on the radio that NS1, which is the big train bridge, Norfolk Southern train bridge, is not able to give it a lift right now. So I have time to be able to paddle. So I wanted to show you this. This is where they drop off iron ore before they bring it down the river sometimes. So those are piles of iron ore. Had the opportunity to ride on a freighter as we were checking out the Cuyahoga River for some paddling trips, and that iron ore really just looks like dog pellets, so pieces of dog food, and that's what they take up down the river. And then they have ArcelorMittal, which is at the end 6 miles down, where they then melt it and create different structures for the industry here. So super cool to be able to paddle. But please be knowledgeable when you're paddling here. Don't put the freighter captains at risk. Don't put anybody else at risk. Get a VHF radio, monitor my AIS system, and then have fun and be respectful. Wendy Park's just around the corner, and then the Coast Guard Station, historic Coast Guard Station. 12.5 miles from Huntington, feeling great. I want to show you Wendy Park, a paddler's paradise. So Wendy Park really is a paddler's paradise. It has a nice beach area that you can launch from. You can see you can park your car pretty close to the water, so you don't have to worry about a long transport. So parking up there as well. And then they do have beach volleyball. There's leagues that operate out of here. And then the Cuyahoga River. So we are on the Lake Erie Water Trail, but at Wendy Park, it meets the Cuyahoga River Water Trail. Maybe I'll try to do that one in another video. But we have the historic Coast Guard Station in front of us. The Foundry, as well as Cleveland Metro Parks, operate sailing programs out of there in the summertime. But you can see there's all kinds of traffic. There's paddlers such as myself. There are tugboats, so a big tugboat. On the radio, I heard there's another freighter coming. American Courage is at Collision Bend. If you're paddling out here, it's good to know the different names of things. So by the time it gets here, I can be past the mouth of the river. So I am going to go ahead and paddle across again, just like on the Rocky River. Paddle straight across, look for boat traffic. Even though paddlers technically have the right of way of power boaters, if there's a power boater coming, it's like a highway. Wait for them to go through, and then when it's clear, go ahead and cross quickly. About to cross the Cuyahoga River. Here's the historic Coast Guard Station, nice up close view. And I can also see NS1 has a partial raise. So not high enough for a freighter to come through, so I still have time, but there will be some boat traffic. If it's down, then I know I'm good. Listen to the sounds while you're out here. A long and a short means your bridge is going up. 5 short means it is going down. So there are still boats coming through that I'll watch out for, but no freighters at this point. Having crossed the river, I want you to take a second and really just take in this view of Cleveland. When you're out here on the water, it really makes you think, this is why I call Cleveland home. I mean, look at the skyline, all of the industry, the freighters. Every once in a while, you'll see a plane fly by, the power boaters, the paddlers. Everybody is out here, and it's because of this huge asset, Lake Erie. Couple cool facts. So we have KeyBank Tower and Terminal Tower in front of us. KeyBank Tower is the tallest at 947 feet tall, topped off in 1991. KeyBank Tower is the tallest in Ohio. And next to it, Terminal Tower on the right is the next tallest, second tallest in Ohio. It was the tallest until KeyBank Tower was built. But take Terminal Tower at just over 7 feet tall. If you count the spiral, it's It's taller than that, but just minus the spiral, 700 feet tall. Take it on its side, turn it down the river, and that's what a freighter is like coming down the Cuyahoga. So that's why I've been taking time to listen where it's at. It's at Center Street Bridge now. I'm gonna keep paddling, but we'll see it come out. We don't wanna be too close to the mouth when it does come out, but you'll be able to see another view. Really cool to see, but from a distance. So here is another freighter, not moving at this point. Some other things to be able to look at before you paddle near. I can see that this one is still tied up, so it will not be moving soon. So okay to get closer. Still don't want to get too close, but I know it's not moving and I'm not in danger. So things to look at, listen for while you're out paddling the Lake Erie Water Trail. Okay, by now you're thinking, all right, Rachel, we get it. Freighter equals bad. But I really want to get close to one. How can I get close to one? Well, here's the only one you can get close to. This is the William G. Mather, and it is permanently stationed next to the Great Lakes Science Center and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I wanted to show you on this one, and this is a small one for this area. This is the thruster that I keep talking about. So you can see the thruster in here, and this is how a freighter maneuvers based on wind, based on current. It uses them and it creates a lot of backwash, and it can create a washing machine feeling for you as a paddler, making you very unstable and causing you to flip. So if you really have to get close to one, William G. Mather is the only one to get this close to. And it's really cool because you can go inside and visit it and take a tour of this amazing asset here in Lake Erie. So this is at Wendy Park, to give you a little bit of reference point, North Coast Harbor. That is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then the Great Lakes Science Center. As you paddle around the Mather, see if you can find this little treasure. Yes, that's a bird's nest. Love about Lake Erie is Burke Airport is right here, and while paddling along it allows no escape. It's really cool to see the helicopters and the airplanes fly right over you as you are paddling. The stretch along Burke Airport seems like it goes on forever, but it's still fun. You can see Cleveland skyline popping over the top. The wind direction did change, it's more northerly. Little more chop, definitely having to paddle on the same side, which is not fun. Just reached the end of Burke Airport, saw some cool planes take off, and we are getting close to East 55th Marina, straight ahead. You'll see there right now it's just a break spot or rest stop on the water trail, so don't park your car, start and end there. Go ahead and do that at Gordon Park boat ramp just down the way, but a good place to be able to stop, get a snack, ice cream. I'm actually going to meet Phil there for lunch. 16.4 miles, and I made it here to East 55th for some lunch and then back on the trail. So ready for ice cream. As you can see, dessert first, key lime pie is gone. Now it's time for the main course. So nice little stop here at East 55th, grab some lunch, and then about 8 miles or so all the way to Sims Park. That's the goal, to complete the whole water trail today. It's looking pretty good. We'll see how it goes though. After a refreshing lunch, I'm getting back on the trail here at East 55th, heading out of the marina and then to the east. The wind seems like it has shifted to west, making it a little bit easier, so we'll see how it goes. Just outside of East 55th Marina, leaving downtown, and yes, metal lines the bulkhead, so you'll have some reverberating waves. There is Lakefront Preserve. Gordon Boat Ramp is just inside of there. Another great place to be able to launch. So I'm gonna head on the tip of the preserve. You can also see the break wall comes to an end here. So if you chose to go on the outside of the break wall, this is where you can dive back in here at East 55th. So one more look here, all the way down, and then I will continue. Sorry, it's not straight, but that's what you get on the water. Take one more good view of downtown Cleveland, as we have the Cleveland Lakefront Nature Preserve. Just paddled past it. If you get a chance to hike there, pretty cool views of Lake Erie as well. So we'll keep paddling the coastline, make our way up, and eventually end up at Euclid Creek. Along the coastline, there's a lot of private residences. So on the west side, we had more of the cliff lines. On the east side of Cleveland, we have more of private residences. But if you head towards the tallest building in the area, you're gonna come to a cool little creek that you can actually paddle up. And as you paddle up it, you'll see lots of carp, goldfish. Lake Erie's kind of wavy and choppy that day. It's a nice place to take a little bit of break and calmer waters in there. As a bit of a navigation marker, I've gone a little over 20 miles today, personal record. And this is the Easterly Wastewater Plant. So not a stopping point, but a good waypoint so that you know exactly where you are. So always kind of keep track of where you are as you are paddling, just to make sure that if there's any incidences, you can report it. Hopefully not, but it's just a good idea to keep that boater's eye to the land. Here's the easterly side of the Easterly Water Plant. And I don't know if you can tell, but the cormorants love this area. They are just filling these trees. Gosh, there's at least 50, probably closer to 100 of them. Pretty cool sight to be able to see. When I started paddling about 9 hours ago this morning at Huntington Beach, I had kind of hoped that I'd be able to do the whole water trail, but I was going with, we'll see as far as I could get, because at 20 plus miles, I didn't really know if I could handle that. Probably the furthest before is maybe 12 miles when I've done this trail in sections. But I'm happy to say that just ahead of me, I can see the Euclid Beach Pier, which means Euclid Creek, Wildwood Park. And then just beyond that at the point is Sims Park, the end of the water trail in Cuyahoga County, Huntington Beach to Sims Park. So I will keep on trucking along. Phil is supposed to meet me at Sims around 7 o'clock, so that's 2 hours. Should be a pretty perfectly timed out day. If you have the chance, get the skills. Come out here. You won't regret it. It is breathtakingly beautiful. Literally Ohio's ocean. Salt-free, shark-free, and so much fun. This is why I live in Cleveland. I'm so excited to have made it to Wildwood Park, Euclid Creek Reservation. I'm gonna paddle up here a little bit further. That's the marina entrance. So of course you gotta make sure there's no boat traffic coming, but that's a good place to go in and out, so I'll show you that. And then along here is a swim beach. So lots of people out swimming today. There are buoys here, boats keep out, so please do not paddle in that area as you are approaching through. And then a cool pier, and this is the pier that you could see from back there, so a good landmark to be able to look for, as well as these tall buildings as you're trying to figure out how far you have to paddle until you get to the next waypoint. So let me take you in here. We're gonna go up Euclid Creek just a little bit and then get out at the marina. As you come in, you'll have two entrances. The easterly one will take you to the marina, where you'll see Wildwood Yacht Club as well as Wildwood Marina. So you can get out here at the public boat launch. Is a great place. Or if you prefer, you can go in on the westerly entrance, and that's actually Euclid Creek, and you can paddle up that as well. You can actually paddle that as far up as you can. It starts to get shallow after a little bit, but a great paddle, especially if Lake Erie is choppy. So I'm just going to take a quick break here before I hit Sims Park. So there are a couple boat launch areas. Either one you want to launch from is fine. So there's a little beach by the easterly boat ramp. Nice place to be able to pull up, take a break, or you can start or end here for a shorter paddle, which is perfectly acceptable, but lots of parking in this area as well. And then Euclid Creek is just behind us. It's a nice little paddle to take. From Huntington to the west to Wildwood Park on the east, it's been about 23.3 miles. I believe it's around 3 miles more to go to be able to get to Sims Park. So I'm gonna hit back on the board, finish strong for a 25 plus mile day. The best part is, all things considered, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, a couple sore muscles, but that's expected. But I'm loving it out here. Lake Erie is so, so beautiful. Definitely come check it out. All right, so from Wildwood Park, heading to Sims Park to the east, lots more of private land, so not really places that you can land. They don't have the tall cliffs like the west side does, but still not able to land there. So really Wildwood Park to Sims Park. And as you're paddling, I don't know if you can tell, but there is a pier ahead of me, and that pier is Sims Park. So I can see it, pretty excited. It's a good landmark to look for. The other thing, as you're paddling a long distance, you can look for way markers. So there's 2 tall towers with blinking white lights. And when I'm really far back, like 10 miles, I can see those blinking lights and know that Sims Park is before that. So good way markers to be able to look at. As I'm finishing up my paddle, I'm not sure if you can see the little waves rolling in, so nothing too big, but you'll notice it's coming from the west. So definitely welcome assistance with the wind on my back pushing me in the correct direction. That's part of proper planning, checking the 4 W's before you go out and paddle. So checking the wind, and that's the wind direction. So I made sure it was not a north wind. North winds cause more waves, though it did shift from the south to the west to the north and now straight west, which I knew when I was tired that would be very helpful. You also want to check the waves, how high and big they are. So they're supposed to be 1 foot or less today, which they were, which is very helpful. Check the weather to make sure there's no storms. There were isolated ones to the south, but I was good and stopped at East 55th to monitor them. And then also check the water. It's the water quality, which you can look at the USGS Nowcast, as well as the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, as well as look at the water temperature. So you can look at the nearshore marine forecast. It will tell you the water temperature. It's about 67 degrees today. Feels great. The air temperature is around 90 plus 67 is about 157. So we use the 120 degree rule, which if it's air plus water temperature is less than 120 degrees, you're at a greater risk of hypothermia. Not an issue for us today. It's very hot. So hopefully you can use those tips, checking the 4W, wind, wave, weather, water, before you go on your next paddling excursion. Once I get to Sims, I will go through some of the items that I brought. That way you can know some of the items to take with you on your future paddling endeavors. So you can see the towers I was referencing earlier. Sims Park is before that. This is Sims Park. Never so happy to see you. Beautiful pier, beautiful swim beach over here, and I came all the way from the far west, past Cleveland, from Huntington today on the Lake Erie Water Trail. What an awesome experience. Definitely get out here and experience Cleveland's biggest asset, Lake Erie. As you get out, there are 2 sets of stairs that you can take back to the parking lot. Hopefully today I've inspired you to get out there and go explore. And if you're going paddling, here's a couple tips of things you might want to bring with you. So first and foremost, some layers in case the weather conditions change. So always bring a hat, a sun layer, a rain/wind layer, rain jacket. So some layers, I threw in a towel just in case, a quick dryable one. First aid kit, and know how to use whatever is in it. Sunscreen, lip balm, plenty of food for the long distance, plenty of water. I actually brought 3 water bottles today, refilled 1, so at least a gallon of water for today's paddle. Safety items. On a big open water lake like Lake Erie, it's a good idea to have a distress flag in case you need it, a safety flare, a light stick, a glow stick, and then if you're paddling at night or sunset, definitely a white light is going to be required. On my life jacket, I also have a whistle, so a sound signaling device is required out here, and of course your life jacket. And then for stand-up paddleboarding, it's a good idea to always wear a leash. Have your paddle. You can see I put some extra water bottles, a dry bag in the back. Proper footwear, ideally, because there could be fish hooks or whatnot whenever you get out. And then a couple other things that I brought is a lock. So when I stopped, I could lock up my board. If I had lunch, you might have a dry box. You might also store all of this in a dry bag. So lots of cool things you can take with you, safety things. So get out there, go explore, and remember to take these important things with you. Also in the dry box, I also put a little bit of money, maybe some electronics. If you need it, your phone can go in there, but a little money so you can stop and get ice cream, as well as your ID. I just do a copy in case you lose it with your emergency contact number on there. So get out there and go find your next adventure. Awesome adventures await if you go ahead and take advantage of them. So excited to have taken advantage of the Lake Erie Water Trail today, all the way from Huntington Beach to right here at Sims Park. If you enjoyed the experience and learned a few things along the way, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Adventurous Heart. Or if you have questions about stand-up paddleboarding or the Lake Erie Water Trail, please list them below. I want to do what I can to help you get out and explore this beautiful, awesome, amazing place in our backyard here in Cleveland. And if you're not in Ohio, find some place in your backyard to go explore and have an awesome time, because awesome adventures await you. I'm Rachel with Adventurous Heart. Until next time, go find an adventure.